All right.
All right, I think we're on our way here. Okay, this is Randy Metalwulf, Metallic Onslaught. It's been a while since I'd done this. The last interview that it landed in my lap was early last year, Avatarium. It was a good conversation. The last interview I had scheduled was with Chris Caffrey, and it was in a heartbreaking moment. I had a bout of kidney stones that was debilitatingly painful, and I could not go through with it. So here we are today, a little over a year later, and I am talking with a guy today who is his resume speaks for itself for sure, and he's about to embark in less than a month on a pretty sizable tour. I'm glad I kind of clarified some of the details of the show. And before I get any farther, I should probably introduce you, right? We're talking with Vinnie Moore today. And as I said, so this tour, at first, so it's Adrian Vandenberg doing his Whitesnake years.
Correct.
And so he's going to be doing a set with his own band. And this is where I misunderstood, because for some reason I thought you guys were all, it was just like one super group for, the evening, and it was going to be an assortment of Whitesnake stuff plus other things that you and Marco Mendoza, who is also on the bill. But it's Marco actually will be performing a set and bringing you out, and you guys are going to be doing Thin Lizzy, UFO, assorted stuff, other things you've been involved with. How did this?
Yeah, we're going to do.
How did?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. How did this tour come about?
I met Marco a couple years ago, and we started immediately talking about potentially doing some shows together at some point. And about a year ago, he called and told me all about this, asked me if I'd be into it, and of course I was. And, that's pretty much how it all came about.
Good deal. So, the stop that we were promoting here today is August 9th at Sharky's in Liverpool. Great venue, as I understand. Very popular. They get some good crowds out there. I have yet to frequent it. One of these days, I'd like to. And as I mentioned before, it's just your resume is, and this is where I have to admit, just I'm a little bit clueless in some regards, because while I've been familiar with your name for a number of years, I never really knew what aspects of the who you were involved with. I think I was more familiar with some of your stuff as a solo artist, and doing some blah 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 deeper digging. Words are hard sometimes. You have been with Vicious Rumors, played on their first album. Was that the only album you played on for them?
Yeah, that was in way back.
Like
And
87, wasn't it?
went out and recorded that album with them in California, and many moons ago. But yeah, it was only that one.
And then, and here's one that I should have been familiar with, because I do actually enjoy this album. You performed on Alice Cooper's Hey Stupid album.
Yeah, did 2 tracks on that.
Here's the fun part. That album is very polarizing amongst my circle. I like it well enough. Others do not. It is what it is. And, people have their own opinions. It's okay. But what I did happen to see that tour. It was 91, Operation Rock and Roll. They did a stop in Weedsport, New York. And I mean, that was a great show. Alice and Judas Priest with Motorhead, Dangerous Toys, Metal Church. One of the best lineups I've ever. Were you actually on that tour? Or was it? I remember Al Pitrelli was in the band at the time.
Yeah, I was actually on that tour, and it was a lot of fun. We did a whole summer's worth of shows in America, and I think one in Toronto. And I don't remember how many shows it was, but yeah, we played the outdoor sheds the summer, and I had a great time. So I was there.
Yep, good deal. So I have seen you.
You saw me and you didn't know it.
At the time, I was kind of blissfully ignorant of your contributions. But yes, that was a great. I mean, that was my first time seeing Alice, and I mean, I'd seen him 7 times, and I'd see him 700 times if I could. And it's so. I mean, the whole experience of recording and touring with Alice. How was that?
It was awesome, man. I had a blast. I was an Alice fan when I grew up, so I knew all those old songs, and it was just really cool to play them with them live on stage.
Very cool. Because here's my fun with Alice Cooper. I was a late bloomer, so it was like mid to late '80s by the time I was really able to embrace him. Uh, my dad, we were at a carnival, like small town fireman's carnival. I was probably 11 or 12, and we're walking along, and they got the dartboard. You throw a dart and win a poster. And I remember seeing
Okay.
Alice Cooper, and I remember asking, it's like, why does he call himself Alice? And my dad's like, Alice Cooper is disgusting and vile, and you don't need to be listening to his music. It's bad enough that we let you listen to Kiss. Now, bear in
That's
mind,
crazy.
this is the
Alex would have.
this is the person who introduced me to Deep Purple at like the age of 7 or 8. And yeah, they did. My parents did ultimately end up. Generally, they may not have agreed with my musical taste, but they didn't not support it either. So it's all good. And I did end up in discovering Alice, and it was like a religious experience.
He probably would have enjoyed that comment from your dad. Actually, it would have made him happy.
I'm sure. I'm willing to bet. I'm still on the. It's like hoping for that day where I'd like to actually have a conversation with Alice and bring that story up. So fingers crossed. But
Yeah.
you also back in like the 2000s, you were with UFO for quite a while.
Yeah, that lasted 20 years actually.
You were in. That is quite the. Would you say that's your longest tenure in a single band?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely by a long shot. It's funny, when I first joined the band, I thought maybe it would last 3 to 5 years. And then 20 years later, I'm like, wow, who would have ever known?
That is severely awesome. Now, one of our other co-hosts actually submitted what I think is a really good question related to your time in UFO. Josh Nolan has asked, how did you get the UFO gig, and how difficult was it learning Michael Schenker's parts?
I got the gig because I toured with Michael in 1999 in America. We did 32 shows. And at that point, I met his manager, who's named Peter, from Germany. And when UFO was looking for a guitar player, Peter was actually managing them as well. So he recommended me for the gig, and they asked me to send some of my music to Phil. So I put a little compilation CD of, a bunch of my songs, sent it to Phil. And then a couple weeks later, I heard back that he liked the stuff and wanted me to do it.
Very cool.
So, the first thing we did was get together in Germany and start rehearsing for a record. There was no tour first. It was a record first. And, we were trading ideas and talking over the phone a lot. And we got enough material together that we thought we liked, that we could meet and just go into rehearsals and knock it out and do the record.
Very cool. Now, I'm going to start throwing out some other, because, as I'm researching, you've performed with a lot of people over the years, and some of the names that came up that sparked my interest the most, like you were on an album with Jordan Rudess. How did that go? How was that experience?
That was great. I was doing my second record, Time Odyssey, and I was looking for a keyboardist to play on it. And I had seen Jordan playing at some guitar convention in
Mhm.
New York City. I forget what it was called, but there was this crowd of people listening to this guy shred on a keyboard, and it was what I was hearing was awesome. So I kind of got closer. I got right up to the front, and Jordan was actually sitting on the floor with his little mini keyboard, just wailing, and a crowd had like encircled him. So I made my way into the inner circle, saw him, and then afterwards introduced myself, and told him that it would be great to work together someday. And, when I got ready to do the Time Odyssey record, of course, I called him and asked him to play on it. And that's pretty much how that happened.
Very nice. Um, Another name that came up, band German thrash Destruction, who many of us on the Metallic Onslaught are Destruction fans. How about that experience?
Well, I recorded that at home. I was at Music Mesa, which is a convention in Germany, and I met Schmier there, the
Okay.
bassist singer, and we became friends. And I think at that point, asked me if I would be interested in guesting on a track for one of their records, and I had never done anything like that. And it's like, yeah, man, cool. Send me it, and I'll do it. So I got the tracks, did it here in my home studio, sent them back to him, and it's on the record. But I've never gotten a copy of the record, so I need to go out and buy that finally.
Very cool. Yeah, we like I said, we all love Destruction, so that definitely perked my senses up when I saw that one. It's like, nice. And
Yeah, that
then,
was something different for me for sure.
oh yeah. And then Glenn Drover comes up. What capacity did you record with him?
I think I played on one of his songs as well. He was doing a solo record, and I had met him. Where did I meet him? Maybe at Dean Guitars down in Florida, and he just kind of contacted me out of the blue and asked me to guest on a song. And I did that here in my home studio, and yeah, that was pretty much the way that thing came about.
Also very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like seeing people, it's like spreading out and working with other artists and seeing what they can bring to the table. It's always cool to, see diversity in that regard. So, is anything else you'd like to bring up? Any other plans following the tour with Vandenberg?
Well, I've had a lot of solo records. My last one was called Double Exposure, came out a few years ago, and been releasing solo records every few years, over the years. So there's a bunch of those, and working on some new material that's going to be a vocal thing. And I've written a bunch of new tunes and just kind of waiting to launch that.
Good deal. We always look forward to new music from any of the veterans who've been doing it for years upon years. Um, I'm kind of stretching for it's like here. Honestly, I think we've covered a lot of the bases I had already marked out. So, in the interest of wrapping this up, because we did get kind of a late start doing this, technology being what it is.
Yeah,
So, once again, I would like to iterate that this show is Adrian Vandenberg with his White Snake Ears tour. Support from Marco Mendoza with Vinnie Moore, and this is at August 9th at Sharky's in Liverpool. I believe doors open at 6, so get there early. And as I understand, like I said, Sharky's is reportedly a pretty hot spot in the summer, and this should be a good show. Definitely, some good music to be heard coming from both bands that will be playing. And
yeah, I look forward to it. I don't think I've ever played there either, so it's going to be a first for me. And yeah,
they
look
have
forward to
really been
seeing everybody.
they have really been coming into their own the last couple of years, and like some really big events and some bigger, maybe not mainstream, but known bands, but not like, you know, the real heavy hitters, you know. I think, what was it? They had Acid Bath last year, and God, they had some nice death metal fests if that's your, you know. But
Well,
no,
I'm happy to hear they're doing well.
they are doing well, and it should be a great night. But yes, I'd like to take one more chance and thank you for tolerant being. You're like so patient because
Oh, no
we
worries,
were
man.
going
Great.
through
Thanks
some
for talking to me.
we were going through some stuff, and finally it's like, you know, something, I could record this on my phone. We're gonna do it this way. So thank you, Vinnie Moore. Have a great show, and I hope to see you down the road somewhere.
All right, Randy.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot, man. I appreciate it, and
All
looking
right.
forward to the show at Sharky's.
Yes, indeedy. Take care, man.
Okay,
Good.
take it easy.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.